Hello, my name is Don Doyle and I am co-president of the Roselawn Civic Association. And I'm speaking to you on behalf of the Roselawn Civic Association, our neighbors in Penn Manor, and our neighbors in Penn Pines. And the purpose of these videos is to inform you of the situation that's going on at the Thompson Tract. You probably know the Thompson Tract is a little more than 10 acres on Providence Road, and it runs from Providence Road all the way down to Darby Creek, and you can see the back of the property from Hoffman Park in Lansdowne. There was a zoning meeting, and I want to give you a little bit of information about that. We'll touch on that in later videos. The first thing is, there was a newspaper ad that appeared in the Delaware County Daily Times on April 14th. And it's advertising these luxury apartments that are going to be given space on Providence Road, and it's called Providence Green. The only problem with that is they're kind of putting the cart in front of the horse because it hasn't been approved. The zoning, there hadn't even been a zoning meeting on April 14th. The zoning meeting was scheduled and was held on April 22nd. So he's kind of being a little presumptuous that he has this approval when he's far from that. A couple things. When the meeting started, his lawyer, the way it works is his lawyer interviews him and he explains the project. His lawyer, Mr. Mancini, had some visual aids, and he put a map of the proposal up, and it was not what had been submitted. And when our lawyer, John McBlain, objected to that and said he wasn't given that material, the zoning chair said they had just gotten the material that afternoon, so there was no time to get everything out. Just another example of how people are dealing a little shady dealing with this whole proposition. Now, that was the 22nd of April, and they said, "We'll get the material to you." Material was presented to our lawyer yesterday. That was May 6th. He got the material. He has forwarded it to myself and several other people. It's quite lengthy, but we'll get into that. The major difference is now instead of 240 units, he's going to put 204. Not much difference, but there are some other things that were included in that sketch that we're studying now to get an opinion on. The original plan, just to go back even further, I found out, which I didn't know, that the developer, Mr. Angster, had sent an email, and he said his intention was to build 44 mega mansions on the property. And then all of a sudden he changed his mind, like a lot of things changing. It's a very like shifting sand here. He changed his mind and went from 44 mega mansions to 240 luxury apartments, followed by 204 luxury apartments. Now, one of the major sticking points, and I'll address this today, is parking. The streets surrounding the development are narrow, and there's not a lot of parking available. Upper Darby requires, for their zoning, that 2 spaces be required for each apartment. Mr. Angster wants to provide 1.3. As I mentioned in a previous video, the New York Times, an article in the New York Times which explained that the average American family has 2.3 cars. Well, he's coming up a little short on there. Now, he says that he can remedy that if needs be. He doesn't really want to do it, but if the township makes him, he's going to put in 6 parking lots on the slope that goes down to the creek. And that was the area where he was going to leave it undisturbed for let it be natural. But he doesn't want to do that. But if he has to, if Upper Darby makes him, then that's his plan. Well, to me, that's a disaster because there'd be like stair steps going down to the creek, and of course, all that hard surface, the runoff from that, would be all dumped into the creek. Just a disaster. There was so much going on. The meeting lasted 3.5 hours, and the only person that got to testify was Mr. Angster. Mr. Angster seems very intelligent. He had a lot of numbers and facts right at his fingertips, didn't have to consult notes or anything like that, which was impressive. But along with that, there was a certain tone of arrogance in his voice, and he was chiding Upper Darby for being behind the times. He said that they decided to come to Upper Darby because they saw a chance there, just like they saw in Jersey City, which he said is very much like Upper Darby. I have relatives that live in northern New Jersey. I've been to Jersey City. I don't see the comparison there. The relatives who were in Jersey City, when that generation came of age, they all moved away. They didn't want to stay in Jersey City, so I don't know if that's a good comparison. But the best comparison was when he said Upper Darby zoning, and he compared the stagnant zoning in Upper Darby to the wonderful plans and things that have happened in Kowloon province in China, off the coast of Hong Kong. Now, isn't that something to look forward to? I mean, I've always thought that why not live in communist China? That was his suggestion. We've been busy. We have set up a website in addition to the Facebook page. It's being constructed now, but it'll be available shortly. We'll notify you on the Facebook page, and you can tell people that don't have Facebook how they can access that. We've gotten our banking situation straightened out. We have a bank account now, so we're going to be accepting donations for this struggle. And it is going to be a struggle because the meeting was 3.5 hours, and our lawyer predicts that there will be several more meetings because the only person that testified was Mr. Angster, and the next meeting his engineer is going to present the plans and the justification for what he wants to do, and then our lawyer presents our case, and then you want to hear from the public. Oh, and our engineer speaks also. So it's going to be a long process. We're in for the long haul. I think their strategy is to wear us down, make us forget about it over the summer, and then they can just sneak in whatever they want. So we certainly don't want that to happen. So I'll be giving a video update at least once a week, and we will also be posting on our Facebook and on our website pages. Now, if you haven't signed a petition, please do. The details on the petition are on the Facebook page. If you can get your friends to sign the petition, please have. They don't have to be a resident of Upper Darby to do that. This is bigger than all of us. So also, contact the mayor. I imagine she gets her mail, but although I've written 2 letters and asked for a reply very nicely, she has not replied to my 2 letters. But I think if we let them know that we're watching them and that this is what we want, and they are our elected representatives. A lot of news about the primary coming up. Talk to the people. What are they going to do? Do they support us? We're not asking them, their line is, we're not involved with the zoning, blah, blah, blah. But if they know the people don't want it, and if they represent the people, they should be speaking out against this. So please take the time, send an email, send a letter to the mayor and the council people and ask them to support our mission. I think that's enough for today, but we'll be covering several other things that came up at the meeting, and the next meeting it was continued until June 1st. So we have a little bit of time to prepare. Thank you for your time, and once again, please sign the petition and become active in our opposition. Thank you very much.